My name is Pat McGrath and I'm an artist and I'm here in the Axis and I'm going to make a few things for Halloween. And the idea behind this is that we just use stuff that we have in the house. So I haven't got anything special. I have a few googly eyes that I might use, but I'll also be using little eyes that I cut out of a piece of white paper with just a marker. So I'll just show you what I have. I have a few things of tape. I have a biro, I have a pencil, I have a scissors, that's the most important thing. I have some sticky glue and I have a black marker. And then the stuff that I'm going to use is I have kitchen towel rolls and loo rolls, and then I have just some packets of some stuff, some cornflakes boxes, some pieces of black paper that I tore out of magazines, and some other boxes and just stuff like that. I have a few paper plates that I mightn't even use. Anyway, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to finish off making this thing that I started. It's a little mummy that I made out of toilet roll. Now I made one of them, but it has two sides on it. So that's the one with the homemade googly eyes. It's hard to say that, googly eyes. And that's the one with the shop bought googly eyes. I don't know which one you think is preferable. Well, I'm going to just add one more piece of paper to that. So I just have this. This is just a strip of a serviette that I got in a fast food restaurant on my way over here today. So I just put it on the table and I'm just going to drag the glue stick all the way along it. I'll do that out here because that mightn't have been on camera. Just going to drag the glue stick all the way along. You don't have to be too exact about this. I'm just putting it up here around his head. And I'm just going to fold it around. And it's twisting around it. I'm just going to make sure not to go over his eyes, but I'm going to get down and I'm going to go over the mouth on part of it. Because often you see mummies and they're going to go, going around the place. So I'm just going to fold that back so you can see where he's going. I'm going to leave that there. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a bat. Like a bat is a Halloween thing. So I'm looking for a dark piece of paper. And I'm going to use this. Now this is just really could all be black, but I'm not going to worry about that. So I'm going to cut out just a square shape first, and you could draw this on. You could draw on one bat wing. Like that. And then just fold it in half. And cut around it with the scissors. And a little tip, always keep the scissors pointing away from you and move the piece of paper or the piece of cardboard. Don't be kind of cutting around, and because you might cut yourself. And as my dad used to say, you can't buy fingers in Tesco's. So which one will I use? I'm going to use this skinny one. So I'm just going to get a bit of tape. This is just masking tape. And you can use any kind of tape, and I'm going to put it with the dark paper facing away from me, and I'm going to glue that on the back up nice and high like that. Yeah, and you can see the shape of the wings there. Then I need me googly eyes. I'm going to use my homemade googly eyes, two big ones. And the way I made them was I just drew a circle with the marker on a piece of paper. What else does a bat have? A bat has ears, doesn't it? So somewhere here I cut out the shape of ears. And if you have a problem doing drawings of these, you can find loads of this stuff on the internet. Pictures of bats and all, and you can probably even print them out and cut them out. I'm just going to glue that bit on like that. And that'll be our bat ears. Now I'm going to find, I cut these out earlier, they're just two little fangs, like that. And I'm going to glue them on as well, with my glue stick. Now you can use any kind of glue, you could use PVA glue, or you can use those glue sticks that you can get them anywhere. Or you could use, the only glue I'd say don't use is, don't use super glue, because it'll stick your fingers together. You don't want that. So, do you know what I'm going to do? Is I'm going to find a bit of this red cardboard. I'm just tearing this off this. I'm going to tear this. And maybe I'll cut it with the scissors to make it neater. And I'm just going to glue that maybe along the top of the fangs to make it look like a mouth. Your fingers get sticky doing this, and the paper wants to stick to your fingers and not stick to there. And if you wanted to, you could get your marker and you could colour in the rest of the bat black if you wanted to. Or what you could do before you do any of that is you could get some black paper, if you had any black paper, from a magazine or something. Here we go. This is it. Yeah, here's a bit. I'm going to use the scissors again because I can't tear straight lines. So what you could do is you could cover the whole thing in black paper. And you can find black paper in loads of magazines, just in the backs of photographs and stuff. So you could just do that like that, and then you could glue your googly eyes onto that. Now if you look at them googly eyes, they're slightly different. I just did a black spot in the middle. These ones have a little white spot in the middle of the black spot. People say that makes it look more alive, but I don't know. So I'm going to move on. I'm going to do, so there we have our bat, and we have our little mummy. And I'm going to try and do a vampire. And I haven't really done this, so I'm going to learn how to do it while I'm doing it. What does a vampire have? First of all, we're going to do the googly eyes. So I need my sheet of white paper. And maybe this time I'll use one real googly eye and one made up one. So with my sheet of white paper, I'm just going to draw a dot, big black dot. And then I'm going to keep it the same size. This is the googly eye that I'm using. So already it's a bit bigger. So I'll have one big googly eye and one small googly eye. So I just cut out a small piece of paper from the big piece of paper because I didn't want to be turning the big piece of paper around. There we go. So there's our two eyes. What else does a vampire have? Vampires always wear suits, don't they? So we're gonna have, I'm gonna rub some of this black paper that I had earlier, and I'm gonna just cut out a tie. Do they wear ties? Yeah. So I'm just going to cut out the shape of a tie, if I can remember, because I don't wear ties. I think the last time I wore a tie was when I got married. It was a long time ago. So I'm going to stick on the googly eyes. There's one. this is kind of a big kitchen roll that I cut down. It's not as skinny as the other ones. And this googly eye doesn't want to stick on with this glue. It really doesn't. It's stuck to my fingers. Let's see how that gets on. If it falls off, we'll just use the other eye. Now, I'm going to make... Oh, we have the tie. Let's stick on the tie. Let's put that down there, because we have to leave space for the... No, that googly eye is coming off. I'm going to stick on the paper one. Now it just looks like an office worker. So what else do we need? I'm going to do kind of a cape flowing out behind them. I'm going to do it with this red package. Now it can be any red cardboard or even a piece of paper or anything. Let's see if we can get this to come apart. No, we'll use this. So we're going to cut a big cardboard triangle out. And it's just to give the idea of a cape. Now, I'm just thinking, I'm making this up as I go along with this one, so I'm going to cut a slot. Be careful when you're doing this of your fingers. I'm going to cut a little slot in each side like that, and I'm just going to push that down into it. And then the last thing I'm going to put on is I'm going to put on Fangs again. So I'm going to get my sheet of white paper and I'm going to tear a little piece out like this, and I'm not even going to draw them on. I'm going to just do it freehand. You can draw them on. So I'm cutting out two fangs and putting them on. Cutting and putting. They're too big, so I'm just going to cut them smaller. And I'm just leaving these kitchen rolls and loo rolls their own colour, but you can colour them in if you want, and you can draw things on them. And you can use whatever you want. You can use markers if you have paint. You can use paint. And I'm going to have to move that tie now because it's up too high. And I'm thinking now, do we even need it? If it was a longer thing, yeah, we'll just fold it under. We'll leave it there. So there is our vampire. It's just the idea of a vampire. And if you think of other things you want to add, like maybe with this bit of black paper, we could add some hair. I'm just going to cut out random shapes to make it look like hair. Use my glue stick again. And a piece for the other side. Give me a little nice fancy haircut. You could do loads of things. You can give them eyebrows and stuff like that, but we're going to leave them like that. So there we have our mummy, our bat, and our vampire. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a pumpkin out of out of cardboard. No, do you know what I'm going to do? We leave that because you can just cut out a pumpkin. The last thing I'm going to do is this is a milk bottle, a milk carton, right? It's plastic. And I cut it open. And I'm just going to cut shapes out of it. I'm just going to cut the side out of it. Cut big flat pieces out of it. And these are interesting because you can make the same kind of things. You can make shapes. Like I'm going to cut a ghost shape out of this. What does a ghost look like? Just, you know, one of them ghosts that you see like in Scooby-Doo. And then I'm just going to get my black marker and I'm going to fill in 2 eyes on it. And they're great. You can stick them to the window and you can't really see them in the daytime, but then at night time they cast shadows. And you can do any kind of shapes with that. You have to be careful when you're cutting up the plastic milk cartons, because actually get an adult to do that. Because it's tricky, but I think they give great shapes. And one of the things you can do with them is, if you put them near like a little lamp in your room or something, they cast great shadows onto the wall. So anyway, that's all we're doing for today. Do send in your photographs if you do any of this. Do send them into the Axis. I'd love to see them anyway. Or put them up on your page on Facebook or Instagram or whichever social media you use or don't use. Yeah, so that's all from me for today. Thanks very much. Ooh.